Hello everyone, my name is Shyanne Holder and today I'll be showing you how to install and configure DNS. So the first thing that we are going to do is install bind sudo yum install bind-y. I already have mine installed, so you can just go ahead and just installing it. So installing it will install the bind servers and their utilities. The next thing we are going to do is to enable our bind service or named. So we do systemctl stat named, and then we're going to do it again, and this time we're going to enable it. And then we do one more time, and this time we're going to check the status of it. So as you can see, it is up and it is running. So the next thing we are going to do is configure the firewall for DNS. So we do firewall dash cmd dash dash permanent dash dash add dash port equals 53 backslash UDP. But I already have my file port here already. So we just have to reload it after we add it. So firewall dash cmd space dash dash reload. And then we're going to check the list. So firewall dash cmd dash dash list dash all. So we see our 53 UDP. So 53 is the port that is used for DNS. So both UDP and TCP can be used, but UDP is typically for queries. So now we're going to edit bind main configurations. So we do gedit space backslash etc backslash name dot conf. So you want to make sure that these lines exist inside the curly brackets. So for you, inside of here would be empty or by the listen port 53. So this is where you're going to add in your CentOS IP address. So the listener tells you bind which IP addresses to respond to, and the allow query for you it would be empty, but this is where we add in our inet. We could also find this on IP-A, well, IPA. So the allow query restricts which machines can query your server. So here's only the local network and the host network. So you're going to save and exit. So like I said, you can find the allow query by typing IPA and you find it right here. So now we're going to restart the service to apply the saved changes. So systemctl restart named. So after we restarted, we can now check which portal listening. So we do netstart space dash ANTP. So here it is. This is what we are supposed to be seeing. So now we're going to configure the forward zone. So we type gedit backslash bar backslash named backslash. You can call yours on whatever you want, but I called mine Shyanne.org. So this is what a normal DNS lookup use when you type it into a URL browser. So this file is part of the forward lookup zone, which maps the domain names to IP addresses. So when a user types your domain name, so such as my Shyanne.org, into the browser, the DNS resolver checks the file to find out which IP address the name belongs to. So the SOA, that means start of authority. So it defines key administration information about the zone. The at, that just represents the current zone, in this case, the IP address. The in, which also means the internet class. The SOA name server Shyanne.org identifies the primary DNS server for the zone. The root name server.shyanne.org is the email address of the administrator. The numbers are parentheses and it defines the timing and refreshes the interval. The serial number is used by the secondary DNS server to know when the zone has been changed. The 6 hours, it refreshes. It tells the secondary server to check for updates every 6 hours. 30 minutes, retries. If it fails, retry after 30 minutes. And the 1 week expire if no updates. For a week, the secondary stops using this data. The 1 day, the minimum TTL, the default time to cache negative responses, like no such domain for 1 day. And the NS just means name server recorded, and A just means address record mapped to host IP, to hostname IP. So after you put in all of this, exactly how I have it here, instead of my name, you would use whatever name you choose. You would save it and exit off. So now we're going to edit bind configurations to add a zone. So we do gedit /etc /name.conf. So you're going to scroll down to the bottom, and this is what you're going to put in into your name.conf. So zone shyanne.org in brackets type master file shyanne.org update none and close brackets. So the zone shyanne.org, this declares the DNS zone name shyanne.org. The N stands for internet, which is the DNS class. This just means that this zone contains records for your domain, so shyanne.org. The type master tells bind that this server is primary DNS server for the zone. It has a main copy of the zone data stored locally in a file. The file shyanne.org, this specifies the zone file that contains the actual DNS records for the domain. So it's located in the var name shyanne.org by default. And inside that folder, you define your A and your NS records. So exactly inside the shyanne.org that we saw before. And the allow update, this tells binds that no automatic updates are allowed for this zone. It prevents dynamic DNS changes from other services, ensuring your records are manually controlled for security. And now this zone, this is just the reverse zone. So the zone, so my IP address is typed in backwards. So this just declares the reverse zone lookup. It's named backwards because DNS can read IP address from left to right, just like domain names. It handles requests to translate IP addresses back to its host name. So the file reverse shyanne.org that specifies the zone file that contains your PTR records or pointer records. So the PTR records are what connects the IPs to the domain names. So when we type in our reverse gedit. That's where we're going to see the PTRs. After you've done all of this, you're going to close, well, save. We're going to do our reverse zone configuration. So we gedit /var /named reverse .shyanne.org. So this is where we see our PTR. So this is just used, the purpose of it is to convert IP addresses into domain names. It's used for login, email verification, and network troubleshooting. So this part of the reverse zone lookup, which is the opposite, it maps the IP addresses back to its domain names. So now we're going to configure the resolve.conf as spelled wrong. Okay, so by default, we will have these two names here. And you would add in your search local name, so Shyanne.org, and my name server. This just tells CentOS to use the DNS server itself. So after you do all of these changes, you have to restart the named. So systemctl restart named. So now we're going to check our configurations. So we're going to type named dash check conf space /etc /name dot conf. Once it returns back, that means that there were no error. So we do the same thing, but we're going to check our forward zone now. So we do name dash check zone forward dot Shyanne space /var named Shyanne.org. I'm going to do the same thing again, but instead of forward, we do reverse. So now we are going to test on the forward and backwards lookup. So we do dig Shyanne.org. So once it returns the answer one, that is what we are looking for. So when a user types your domain name, for example, Shyanne.org, into your browser, the DNS resolver checks this file to find out which IP address the name belongs to. So the domain name Shyanne.org is hosted at the 192.168.100.20. So this allows systems and browsers to connect to your CentOS servers when users access the Shyanne.org or the FPC. So it's exactly how the users can visit your website using human readable name instead of typing in raw IP addresses. Now we're gonna check our reverse. So we do dig -x and our IP address 192.168.100.20. So it returns back an answer one. So the IP addresses that shows it belongs to the host name server.shyanne.org. So this is kind of setup is specifically important for network administrators for identifying machines by IP addresses, the mail servers, verifying sender domains, and login systems displaying host names instead of IP addresses. So now we're going to head on over to our Windows. You have to also make sure that both your CentOS and your Windows are set to NAT. So you right click on your Windows settings and it's set to NAT. Okay. to your Windows settings, and it's set to NAT as well. So now we are on our Windows via machine. So you're going to configure the Windows client. So you right click on the little white when you have your installed, you have a Windows icon, well, the Ethernet icon. So you right click and you open network and internet settings. So now our network is open. You just want to scroll down to change adapter options. We're going to right click on Ethernet, properties, IPv4 properties, and for you this would be blank. So we're going to use the following IP address. So I gave my Windows a IP address. I use the default subnet mask and the default gateway, which would be for your CentOS machine. And the preferred DNS would be the IP address of my CentOS machine. So after you do all that, you will just click OK, close, and close. So next we're going to go into our CMD. And here we are going to type the command ns lookup. So this is the result that we want to see for our forward zone. And now we're going to check the reverse. So this is where we enter our IP address. So 192.168.100. Oops, that's supposed to be a dot. .20, enter. And this is the result that we would want to see. And that brings me to the end of my demonstration.